I'm meteorologist Mel, and welcome to Fantasy Forecast Live. I'm here with Mike Huberman, a.k.a. our Sharknado for the day.
Hey, everybody.
So we're very excited to have him. The weather is going to be pretty quiet this weekend for football.
Minus the Sharknado.
Exactly. So we brought our own weather. This is the terrifying weather phenomenon called So we're
coming for NFL stadiums.
We're very excited about that. But if you don't have a Sharknado coming to your stadium, it's going to be really, really nice out across the entire country this week. Fall temperatures are back. It's been like 80s here in New York City.
Here.
It literally, people are like in their bathing suits on Central Park.
It's great.
It's amazing. So it's been great. Now it's raining, it's disgusting, and then it's going to get cold. So October weather is returning.
It's here.
So it's going to be beautiful unless you see a quick Sharknado. Sharknado warnings are possible this week at any NFL stadium. So let's start. What should we talk about first? Thursday Night Football?
Thursday Night Football last night. You know, I've always said that there is no easier bet than betting on Aaron Rodgers the week after his play is the main topic of discussion, namely what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers. It's like a week that happens once a year now. And now it's getting to the point, is it his girlfriend? You know, is he too Hollywood? Is it his brother?
Commercials. His brother is in Hollywood now.
I
read
The Bachelor. Something that said that he has not played as well since Deflategate because he had said that he likes the balls overinflated.
Right. Oh,
and that his stats since ball, inflation became an issue, his stats have been down. Right. But it's like sometimes you just have a bad game, and he was great last night. He was slow in the first half, but ended up with 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. As an owner of Aaron Rodgers, I was thrilled.
Very exciting.
You have to roll with him.
Of course.
It's just he's a top quarterback year in, year out. And just one bad week is not going to ruin what's going to be a great season for him.
I mean, sometimes one bad week you get frustrated, but you can't just sit Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
It's not okay. And I mean, one thing that I think is interesting is Devontae Adams. He had like a huge game last night. It was crazy, and so did Ty Montgomery and Randall Cobb. So all three of them were looking.
Except for Jordy Nelson.
That was my point. Jordy Nelson. Out of all three of them, he's the one person I have on one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm like, what? What's going on? They're all shining. They're all looking great. And what happened to Jordy?
That is a microcosm of fantasy, right? Yeah. You have who is probably the best wide receiver of that four.
You would think that he's the best of the four.
If you read Aaron Rodgers had 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, you think, okay, Jordy Nelson had to have at least one 75 yards. Nothing.
Oh, he got like 1 reception.
That's fantasy for you.
It's insane that he got really 1 reception. And Ty Montgomery, he was actually playing as running back too.
Yeah, second week in a row, he's had almost 10 catches, so it's been great.
Eddie Lacy on IR, another person I have in 3 of my leagues. All my leagues are just like injuries. Yeah. It's just every week it's someone. And Roethlisberger, another
Speaking
one.
Of injuries,
Speaking of injuries, Roethlisberger, I also have him, and now he's going to be out as well. I mean, what are people going to do that have Antonio Brown?
It's funny because this weekend they play the Patriots, and this was like the big game. Brady, Roethlisberger, these two teams. And now it's Brady and Landry Jones, which doesn't have the same ring to it.
Right.
If you're an Antonio Brown owner, I traded him.
You traded him.
I took him number 1 overall. And a guy you take number 1 overall, you don't ever think about, do I bench him? Do I keep him up?
Right. That's the easiest part of fantasy. Right. Is always playing your number 1.
Exactly. So and last year, Landry Jones played a little bit when Roethlisberger was hurt. And he had some moments. But, I think you got to throw Brown out there, but you got to know that there's going to be a lot of inconsistency and a lot of games where he just doesn't do anything.
You don't want to get your hopes up like you usually do with Antonio Brown because you think he's the best in the league, but then you don't have Roethlisberger throwing to him. I mean, I have Le'Veon Bell.
Right,
so.
and you'd still start him. And with Big Ben, they say he's out for 4 to 6 weeks, and then he's back in 2 weeks.
Right.
The guy, he wears injuries on his sleeve.
Exactly.
He loves being hurt, and he loves people knowing that he's hurt.
Right, and I don't think he's going to be out very long.
No.
So I don't think Antonio Brown owners, I don't drop him, don't trade him unless, there's
a great offer.
Unless you have a great offer.
Yeah.
So I think, you keep your hopes high for Antonio Brown, and that Roethlisberger does return. I mean, like I said, I have Roethlisberger, but I'm just going to keep him on my bench. I'm not going to drop him or get rid of him. I'll keep him until he returns and just pick up someone else. I mean, would we consider picking up Carson Wentz if he hasn't been picked up already?
3 weeks ago, yes, absolutely.
What happened?
And start him.
Now he looks like a rookie.
But now he looks like a rookie. And, and this week they're playing Minnesota, which is probably going to be another rough game for him. I mean, at this point, first of all, if you're going to start a rookie, start Dak.
Exactly.
Because Dak has been great. I think you bench or not even have Wentz on your roster. There's just too much inconsistency week to week with him, which is to be understood. I mean, he's a rookie.
Exactly. I mean, the start of the season, he didn't throw an interception. He was looking amazing out there, and now he's looking more like a rookie ever since the bye week.
Right.
So.
Once these teams get tape on these guys, they can figure out ways to stop them, confuse them, slow them down. So I think with Wentz, bench him.
Right. Especially this week against the Vikings.
Vikings.
It's like a no-brainer.
He's really not a great option.
Right. And Vikings defense have looked amazing.
It's the biggest reason why they're 5-0.
It's crazy. That really is why they're 5-0.
Only undefeated team left.
It's crazy. I can't wait to see how far they can get staying undefeated. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, and again, and Dak has been great.
Right, and you mentioned Dak. So what's going to happen with Tony Romo? Wasn't he supposed to come back? After
it's not really clear when exactly he'll be back. Maybe after the bye,
after the bye
is upcoming.
Week. Right.
I think Tony's about to get Wally pipped. I think there have been a lot of Tony Romo, Drew Bledsoe parallels.
There are so many people talking about that
exactly,
scenario.
And for obvious reasons, and that's high praise for Dak Prescott.
For sure.
But at this point, how could you not continue to start Dak?
Exactly.
He has been great. The team has been great. I mean, there are other things there too. They have a great running back.
Right.
They have a very good defense at the moment. So I think Tony may be a trade candidate. And it's crazy to think that sort of the Dallas Cowboys, that franchise.
Exactly. You with their franchise quarterback. Exactly. It's crazy to not see him on the Cowboys. Once he's back and healthy, it's what
I do not envy the position that Jerry Jones is in. It's going to make a tough decision either way.
Right. It's so difficult to try to, figure that out because Dak Prescott is so good, but Tony Romo is the Cowboys and you don't really want to lose him. So it's exciting either way.
It's exciting, yes.
It's exciting.
Yes. Speaking of exciting, Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh my gosh, that was what a day.
If you had told me that he would have caught a game-winning touchdown pass, I would have believed that. If you had told me that he would have proposed to a kicking net, I also would have believed that, given what he's
his move,
shown in his young career.
His move in the air when he did that.
He is like Baryshnikov meets Bolitnikov.
I tried that move. I tried it across my living room.
Yeah, he is like a ballerina, a football player, a dancer, a performer.
It's just... He loves nets. He's obviously
loves
engaged.
Nets, yes.
He's engaged to the net.
Congratulations, Odell. We're very happy for you.
Odell Beckham
we wish you
Jr.
nothing but the best.
We hope you and your net are very happy.
But seriously, though, from a fantasy perspective, it's like he has these games that are unbelievable. That'll single-handedly win you a week.
Right.
And then he has these games where he doesn't really have huge numbers.
Yes.
He has some sort of outburst on the sidelines or with a kicking net or with.
It's always something.
It's
all the
always
drama.
something with Odell. There's always drama.
So he always has something going on.
Which frankly is befitting for a team in New York. For there always to be drama.
Exactly. For the Giants' leading man, you want him to be as dramatic as possible in New York City.
In terms of New York City drama, on the other hand, we have the New York Jets. Your New York Jets. I
don't even know if I want to claim that right now.
As a Patriots fan, I'm enjoying this very much. But what is going on through your head right now?
It's just awful. I have been a Jets fan since I was born, thanks to my dad. This is all his fault. He says sorry every week. He apologizes every week. I'm sorry. You should have just picked another team.
Right.
But I was just born into it. I'm a Jets fan, and that's what it is. But it's really looking bad.
Right.
What is our quarterback situation? What is happening? So now Geno Smith is starting this week against the Ravens. Geno Smith, I can't see him doing anything much greater than Fitzpatrick.
Right.
But what is Fitzpatrick is like leading the league in turnovers. He has the worst pass rating.
Right.
It's just unbelievable. We signed him for that, all the drama at the beginning of the season, just getting him to sign for that 1 year.
Right.
I'm glad we only signed him for the year because this is terrifying. It's awful.
It's interesting though because you're 1 in 5.
5.
So this season is technically not lost.
Right.
But it's
you feel like it's over, but
close to lost.
It's getting close to being over.
I wonder though if it makes sense. Like now you have Geno, you somewhat know what you have with Geno.
Right.
You have Bryce Petty and you still have
We
Christian
still have
Hackenberg.
Bryce. Exactly. We
You
still have
4
options.
quarterbacks. So I wonder if it gets to the point where they say, we're waving the white flag on this season.
Right.
Let's see what we have in the young guys.
Right.
Do we have someone we can build with, move forward with?
Exactly.
Or do we have to yet again invest in a quarterback in the draft?
And it's every It's every year. I mean, since Mark Sanchez, he had that one 2010. We went to the AFC Championship game. And that one good year. That was probably one of my most exciting years.
Yeah,
but
you beat the Patriots on the road in the playoffs. Not many teams do that.
That was probably one of the best days of my entire life.
One of the worst days for me, so that's great.
So I'm good. I'm glad we both have great memories, good and bad, of that day.
Loved it.
But yeah, I mean, since then, it's really. I mean, I haven't really been too happy with the Jets since then, and it's always been a quarterback issue. It's always been a problem. Now Eric Decker's on IR. Brandon Marshall, I mean, what is he going to do with a quarterback that can't even throw the ball without getting it picked off? Matt Forte.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because good or bad, you knew that was a team that had, like, valuable fantasy players,
That's the problem. Is like we did Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall, Matt Forte. We have good players.
Right.
We had the potential there.
Right.
And then it all just spiraled. And our defense is spiraling out of control. We have no rushing game.
No rushing game.
It's all spiraling down the drain.
And it's tough because now, again, from a fantasy perspective, these guys aren't people that you can necessarily run with anymore.
Exactly.
Like, Brandon Marshall, you'll still start. Decker's obviously hurt.
Right.
But, you know, Matt Forte, yikes.
Right, exactly.
Since that big Thursday night game, 3 touchdowns,
big game,
you know, he's really not been someone that was reliable.
Right. So it's difficult. It's hard. I mean, I had a lot of hope coming into the season, and now my hope is gone.
It's
so
sort of like a yearly ritual, though, for you guys.
It is. Well, right.
Quickly turns to note.
Right, exactly. I mean, my big saying every year is there's always next year. That's what we say every single year. There's always next year. But we'll see when our year is. It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
Just
within
like the
the next decade. Just like the Sharknado. Just like I said, the Sharknado is coming for one of the NFL stadiums across the country. Jets will have a winning year within the next decade. I'll say decade out there. But thanks so much for joining us this week. We want to thank our lovely Sharknado. Everyone, again, be aware of the Sharknado warnings out there. Scary.
Yeah.
Thanks again, and I'm meteorologist Mel. We'll see you next week.